You blush. He laughed it off. He's had a long day. It's cool to tease the poor boy so late, even if it is true. Yep, she's right. That's totally what you do. You're annoyed. She knows he's sensitive. It was uncalled for. You put a hand on Ko's arm in a show of support. I would tease him more. Ko hung his head in defeated embarrassment, while you and Kira chuckled together. You're right. I'm just so happy you're here. I'll take the floor. I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. Thank you for letting me out of the bed. I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. Ko shook his head, dismissing the idea immediately.
No.
You're the guest. I don't want to take your bed. Well, I still don't want to take it from you, and I said it first. The two of you narrowed your eyes at each other stubbornly. Kira took that as her cue to step in. My house and my rules then, and you know what? I have to side with... I'd like you to take the bed. You know who I have to side with. I'd like you to take the bed, Z. You hesitated a moment, but it seemed you had to accept the hospitality. With a small sigh, you gave in. Alright. Cool.
So...
Would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be there than out in the open living room, even if there is a couch. Yeah, you can sleep there. Kira giggled softly, drawing your attention back to her. All funny stuff aside, you need to get some sleep. You need to get some sleep tomorrow. Seems like you're setting yourself up to not get any. I know that sounds really capricious. Is that how you spell that word? But I'm a mom. I have to say these things. Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Z? Yes, very responsible. Well, no, we're not. Well, I am. Cove, though. Cove is, though I can't say the same for myself. You simply smiled at him. Maybe you should sleep in the living room after all. Is that a joke? Tell me that's like joking manner. That's like serious, sweet, and joking. Cove is, though I couldn't say the same for myself. With a crooked smile, Ko shrugged and made a small amused sound. I'll leave it at that then for now. Just remember that the walls are thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. We'll be good.
Marvelous.
Kira clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly tinkling against each other. It's only getting later, so I better let you prepare for bed. She nodded toward the hallway and gave you a small smile. I'll play hostess for a second, show you where the bathroom is for a seat, and where you'll be staying the night. Thank you. You hoisted your travel bag back over your shoulder and followed behind Kira and down the hallway. Ko shuffled along behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. The apartment was small but nicely decorated, soft, cool colors with plenty of artwork hanging on the walls to give it character. It was stylish and exactly what you have expected from someone like Kira. After being shown the bathroom and wishing Kira a good night, you headed into the room and found Ko already there. He had changed into his sleepwear for night as well. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment, but with small ocean elements you were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed there. All in all, the room was pretty and clean, and though it almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom, Cove only spent a few weeks out of the year there, so it made sense that it wasn't especially lived in.
So?
What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? Mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. It's a great room. It seriously looks like a hotel room. That's sweet of her. It seriously looks like a hotel room. A really good hotel room. Cove huffed and turned away. He was being defensive over your teasing. When you went back to the room, you jumped in bed and under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. You waited until he was settled in before you flipped off the lights, and a soft glow from the outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out.
Night.
Night, Cove. Sleep well. The room grew quiet as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourself listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home. Cars zooming past and people out having fun instead of crashing waves and the ocean winds cocooning your house in their embrace. Cove shifted around in his sleeping bag, making the fabric crinkle loudly. I've outgrown this thing. I should have checked it earlier, but the trip was kind of short notice. Are you really sure you don't want the bed? Why don't we share? You dropped the topic for the night. Oh. The ladybug dancing on my arm. I don't know if you can see that. I feel so weird. I'm gonna flick it off. I heard a thud. I don't know where that was, but I heard a thud. I hate bugs. Even if it's a ladybug. Maybe we're a couple. But is it weird to bring that up? I mean, we've slept in beds together before. Why don't we share? It's big enough. Cove inhaled deeply, the fabric of his sleep bag crinkling loudly as he fidgeted beneath it. I told my mom I was gonna stay on the floor. You frowned, wondering when that had ever stopped him before. Did you really plan on going through with that? No. He hesitated a little, the silence stretched between you. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. You knew him well. The sleeping bag rustled again, and through the dim light you saw him stand and head towards the bed. You took in a deep breath as he ran his hands across the top of the blanket, gathering his nerves as his eyes met yours. Then he paused, head tilted aside, as if silently asking permission. It's all right. You shuffled over to make room for him as he pulled the bedding up and crawled beneath the covers, leaving the two of you close together but not quite touching. He exhaled a heavy breath as he laid down on his side, his head getting comfy on the pillow next to yours. You had a strange feeling in your stomach, like it had been doing little somersaults, but it felt good to have him close. He raised his fingers and delicately brushed the tips over your cheeks, drawing a shaky sigh from your lips. His touch was warm and feather-light, making you feel tingly all over. When his eyes met yours again, you found yourself lost in them, the world becoming still and silent around you. Then he froze, his muscles tensing as he closed up like a clam and his breath hitched in his throat. He attempted to whisper something, but it was completely lost on you. With that having to suffice as a warning, Cove jumped out of bed and crouched down on the floor. His head held in his hands as he took in a few deep breaths, stuttering breaths. You bolted upright in the bed, staring down at him with a mixture of alarm and amusement. Are you okay?
I'm always like this.
I thought it'd feel like it did before when we were younger, but it's different now. I'm sorry, Z. Really sorry. I'm just so. He panted deeply in and out, as though he had just finished running an entire marathon. After finally steadying his breath to normal rhythm, he crawled back into his sleeping bag, and huddled down on the floor, his back turned to you. Sorry. You understood. You're just more. You're amused. It's kind of flattering. He felt embarrassed. You were amused. That was Cove for you. He usually needed at least one trial run before he could take that kind of step forward. You can always try again another night. You don't need to apologize. Thanks for trying. I'm not surprised that this happened again. You didn't say anything about it. We can always try again another night. He made a small noise acknowledging that he had heard you, but said no more. With the event over, you lay back down in bed alone for this night. That's so cute. The night dawned, bringing with it the sound of birds chirping happily outside the window. You opened your eyes slowly, letting them adjust to the light as you tried to recall where you were and remembering the unfamiliar sight of Cove's second bedroom. You had woken up on your own. You reached over to turn off the alarm you had set. Cove had nudged you awake. I'm really weird. Like I've said before, I'm a degenerate sleeper. I go to bed at 4 or 5 a.m. But if I know I have something to do tomorrow, for some reason, even if I set an alarm, I wake up before said alarm. But I'm not sure what I would do in that situation. I guess I would say I'd woken up on my own. Early morning sun filtered through the blinds, telling you it was about time to get out of bed, start getting ready for the day. The sound of Cove shuffling around the floor drew your attention, though. You weren't surprised. He had always been a morning person. Sitting up in bed, you let out a yawn and stretched your arms above your head. You still felt groggy. You felt okay. You were quite refreshed. You still felt groggy. You were used to sleeping in longer than this, and the late night hadn't helped. Morning. The two of you were on completely different wavelengths right now. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes and your toiletries before heading into the bathroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered, sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey. Hey, can you pull out the stuff in those drawers? You nodded, though he hadn't even looked up from his task, so you knew he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to the drawers, you started the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. After a while, it became clear to you that Cove was acting strange whenever you were near him. He was flinching over your presence. It happened a few more times before you couldn't take the awkwardness any longer. You dropped the stuff you were holding down in front of him and raised a questioning eyebrow. Is everything okay?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about last night again. He quietly squeaked the second part out of his thought about not staying in bed with you. I know you try not to mind or be mad at me, but I wish I didn't have to make you accept me backtracking all the time. He swallowed thickly, struggling to find the right words to explain himself. I did think it felt nice, really, it just also not bad, good in an inconvenient way.
I mean...
Lying like together like that, being so close, it gets too hot, you know. His cheeks flushed with color, and he immediately trailed off, his eyes firmly fixed on the floor. I get it, you'll stay the whole night next time, right? Was that intense for you, huh? Maybe I'm the one who should apologize. I'm sorry to bother you. Yeah, it's annoying, but it's what I signed up for with you. Do better next. You're not what are these responses? Was that intense for you, huh? Maybe I'm the one who should apologize. His eyes widened, a pink tinge creeping on to his cheeks before he could duck his head enough to hide it.
Well...
Just don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything. Let's get back to packing. Oh, I'm sorry. Car backing up in my driveway. With him more or less resolved, you went to grab some more items as Cove focused on the box in front of him once again. Oh hey, look at this. When he turned toward the sound of Cove's voice, you found him digging through one of the drawers beneath the bed.
Neat.
Here's something I definitely need to bring. Craning your head, you got a better glimpse of what he was holding. An old yellowing book. When he opened it up, there were a few dried pressed flowers between the pages. Those had been gifts you'd given to him for his mom's place, something for him to remember you by and to make his time here less lonely. He kept them the whole time? You don't have to hold on to this forever. I was only lending you those. I think I'll take them back, he joked. It's horrible that you cared so much for them. He started to feel emotional. Of course you should take them. It's adorable that you care so much for them. He sighed, glancing between you and the items. in his hands. They bring back some good memories. A faint blush of color crept over his cheeks and he looked away quickly.
Nice.
These are special. It was important having a piece of you with me when we were apart. I feel the same way. That's why I gave them to you. Cove smiled, pleased that the feeling was mutual, but then the expression became more amused. And did you keep the souvenirs I brought you back? Of course. Nope, you said jokingly. No, you said honestly. Would I joke? I feel like it'd be too mean to joke. Of course. His grin grew to completion. Thanks. Another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress with Cove's room, with only the closet left to sort through. It took a minute to take a mouthful of water from your bottle and perch on the edge of the bed, feeling productive. Cove glanced over at you and paused, putting down the tape gun he had been using to seal up his boxes. He raised an eyebrow. You know, it's really strange to see you sitting in this room. Why? He frowned a little, his eyes distant and his voice quiet when he spoke next.
That's...
During the visits to Mom's, when I was sitting alone in this room, I'd sometimes think about how you weren't here. It was a weird feeling at the time that you weren't around, and now that you are here in this exact place, I don't know how to explain the feeling. He shrugged it off and smiled a little as though he said enough and ready him. Didn't want to risk sounding silly. Life is pretty confusing, is all. I didn't know you thought about me when you were away. That's true, life makes no sense. I missed you so much when you were gone. You smiled at him. I missed you so much while you were gone. His brows crinkled as he looked at you solemnly, his eyes bright with emotion. I missed you too, all the time. It made you feel better to know that, somehow to know when you were stuck at home missing his company, that he was missing yours too. He looked away satisfied, heading over to the closet and the last of the items to be sorted. Before long, every box, closet, and drawer had been thoroughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organize and return to their proper place. With a sigh of relief, you glanced around the bedroom and the work you had done together.
All right.
We're done. Good job to us. I'm gonna change out of my PJs for the drive. Yeah. When the two of you headed out into the living room ready to get everything finalized and hit the road, you found Kira in the kitchen pouring a cup of tea. You headed towards her, leaning casually against the counter that divided two spaces. You didn't have to get up so early.
Come on.
Are you crazy? Of course I have to see you off before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold. She beamed at him and, in all honesty, seemed more happy to be up and getting ready for the day. Do you want some breakfast? I've got some muesli or eggs and toast. Oh, some of that fruity cereal you used to love. That's okay. We should really eat on the road. Kira smiled sadly, a little disappointed, but she seemed to understand that your time was running thin. I thought you might say that. In that case, I've packed some snacks for the road.
What do you think?
Even if you don't end up eating them, take it away. Take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home, and tell him I said hi. Cove laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than to polish off whatever food Kira had prepared for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom. You really didn't have to.